Hello and welcome YouTube. Can't wait to take out for a ride.
One. Oh no. I need to focus more.
Loud pipes save lives and all that. This is dumb. I hate this intro.
Hello everyone and welcome to the spiffybiker channel. You're joining me on a motovlog and I'm just chilling tonight. Sunday evening. Clouds are out but it's still quite nice. A little bit damp on the roads but felt like it was time to go out on the bike. I hadn't gone out of those flat out on a scooter. Haven't been out on the bike for a little while. Last time I rode the bike was for my Peak District ride, which should all be up now. I couldn't decide. If people are wondering why there was such a delay between the different parts, that's because I started breaking it down and I wasn't quite sure what is the right amount of time of an episode should be. I wasn't sure how long an episode should be, because for me, I could have done it as just one long continuous episode, which would have been about an hour, but I kind of respect people's time, and frankly, I'm really surprised and grateful that as many people have watched the first episode in particular. I'm recording this, I haven't posted episode 2 yet while I've recorded this. I didn't think people would want to sit and listen to me go on for like an hour, so I thought I'll break it into 3 bite-sized chunks. And yeah, that was a great experience, and it was a great experience because I learned a lot on that. I didn't quite prepare myself that well, and one thing I hadn't anticipated is actually this bike, as much as I do love this bike, it doesn't cope well at all on the motorway. It really surprised me. My Triumph Bobber was really stable at motorway speeds. Like you can cruise at 70 on that thing, and it was effortless. It was so solid, and it was fine. It was just a riding position for me. I couldn't do a long distance on that because of the riding position, and the fuel tank was so small, so it wasn't great. But it was a really stable, really easy to ride bike, and I didn't realise that this bike, because I'm sat upright and I'm completely exposed to all the air, all the winds, it really does struggle. I get so much wind against me and it makes the whole bike feel a little bit unstable when you're going around 70. And I've gone on forums, had a look to see, is this a common thing what to be, and the first thing that people do is they put a screen on the front, and I thought, okay, well I could do that, but then everyone's complaining that the screens on this aren't that great. Like, they seem to be okay at low speeds, but when you go over 40 it seems to really struggle. I thought, that's no good. So I'm in a bit of a dilemma now, because I got this bike so I can go and do some nice touring on it, but it's not great if I have to use the motorway, because it cuts out a big chunk of my time, but I'm all over the place, and it's quite exhausting after doing it for hours and hours on end. Well, I'm doing what I'm doing right now, just A, B roads. I mean, it eats up A and B roads for breakfast, it loves it, but you get to a dual carriageway where it's just a bit more open, it really struggles. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just terrible at this. Hello, gentlemen, ladies. Hello. Maybe I'm just not a very good rider, but I've just noticed that it's considerably different. So yeah, I mean, I guess realistically, the more ideal bike, if I was to stick with Triumph, would have been like a Tiger, whether it was like the regular Tigers or a Tiger Sport. They would have been, you know, they're more of a commuter touring option. But I personally just, everyone's beeping their horns at each other today. I'm just, for me, I have to really love a bike, and looks are a big part of that, and I'm really drawn to the looks of this bike. I love the look of this bike. I think it's wonderful, and I'm not that sold on the looks of it. I think they're a bit too big and a bit clunky, and so, I don't know, I've not actually ridden one, so maybe I'll ride one and be completely blown away by them. I think, what have I done? Why not just buy a Tiger? But I don't know, I love this bike. I'm sort of sticking with it, and I've just got to get a bit more used to it, I suppose. Now I'm heading towards RAF Odeum, because when the sky is like this, you get some of these roads. It's some of my favourite bit of road. A lot of people out on their bikes this golden hour. Indicator's been on this whole time. That's such a, oh God, I wish I'd stopped doing that. At least I'm not at any junction. Wow, lovely orange skies tonight. The weather hasn't been as great as I'd hoped, but it's been a nice weekend. Great way to finish the weekend is go on a ride. And this is more, the Peak District is something else, but this is still nice. I usually like to cruise around the Surrey Hills, and you got some nice roads around there, but the Peak District was very special. I'll never forget, there was a time when I was riding on my CBT licence on my little 125. I had a Husqvarna Smart Pillion, was my first bike, and I was riding along here, and there was no cars around, and there was just a Spitfire, just a lone Spitfire flying above my head. And that on a night, it was an evening, similar, it was actually a nicer evening than this. It was a really bright, beautiful evening, September time, and it was really magical. And you know what, it didn't matter what bike, just being on a bike and experience and having that moment, that always like sits with me. I always remember that. Just goes to show, it doesn't matter what you ride, just that you ride, and you can have these fun adventures. So I don't really have any destination today. I'm literally just going for a little poodle about on the bike, and this is what I do. Most of my riding is like this. I literally just kind of think, right, I've got about an hour or two to kill. I don't have a destination. I'm just going to go for a ride, look for random roads like this, and pick a random, like, shall I go left or I go right? I could really, to be honest, do with like some kind of mount, so I can have my phone up and have a map out, so I can find little roads and kind of have a better idea where I'm going. But at the moment I'm just sort of just kind of guessing. really know where I am right now, but it looks very nice. Froyle, that way, okay. So yeah, I haven't seen this. I don't actually know what this village is, but it is very, very pretty. And I just love this. I wouldn't. It's funny, isn't it? I just feel like you wouldn't do this kind of thing in a car. I just don't think he would. I don't think people get in a car and just kind of think, I'm just going to take it out and just go to, I don't know, going to drive down this road to see where it goes. If not, okay, I'll go back the other way or whatever. You kind of have a destination in mind and go there, but there's something very freeing about a motorcycle that encourages you to do stuff like this. And I absolutely love it. It's one of the best parts of riding a motorcycle is actually not knowing where exactly you're going. You're just going somewhere. Oh wow, that's so I swear you get to a certain age and then you just really appreciate a sunset like that. The lavender. Yeah, this is one of those pretty happy moments right now. As a biker, I'm just cruising down a country lane, no one around, no distractions, sun is setting, and you know what, it's Sunday evening and God, you know what, life is just so hectic. It can be. I don't have the luxury of doing this sort of thing full time. I don't do just creating content full time. I have a full-time job. It's quite full on. It's a great job. I do enjoy it. And I've got 3 young kids. And it's, life can get really busy and can get really hectic. So having a moment like this where you can just ease in the curves of the road, just enjoy the sweeping roads, the sound of the motorbike. I'm just cruising right now. Chasing that sunset. This last month of filming content on YouTube and watching myself, and I realise that, God, I am very socially awkward. I really struggle. I've never really noticed that I really struggle to kind of make eye contact with people. God, pheasants everywhere. Great example. See, anyway, I struggle with that, and I always have done, and I've always felt big groups I always really struggle in, and I'm someone who's pretty happy in just I like to just be, I'm not great on my own per se. I like to be alone most of the time, but I also really enjoy, I have like a little bubble, and I kind of just love spending time with my kids and like a very small select group of other people that I like spending time with. And then I'm not really great with making new friends, and it's something that I've never really taken a huge amount of notice of until I started doing all this. I'm like, wow, I'm a bit awkward on screen. I'm a bit awkward on camera. I recently did a video for a good friend of mine, Ray, the Bonnie biker, and we find ourselves just kind of, we get on really well. We just click, and I was watching that back, and I said to Ray at the end, you know what, you're going to do really well to actually make any of this worthy to be put out there, because you ask me a question, I go off on tangents, quite wild tangents, and I get distracted and I lose focus on what we're supposed to be discussing. So I wouldn't be surprised if none of it makes it to the end, and if you decide to not actually post it, then I understand. And we had been recording for 45 minutes and he trimmed it down to 20. So there's 25 minutes of nonsense tangent guff that I was spewing out. And I also realised that the whole conversation was meant to be learning more about me and my bike and the decision, why did I get rid of my bobber and then get one of these T120s. And then looking back, so I just spent the entire time talking about my bobber and Ray's bobber, and I hardly ever spoke about my actual new bike. I kind of like made out like I didn't like it at all, really, but it's because I just, I've kind of becoming a bit more self-aware, I guess, that oh, hello, Mr. White Van Man. I guess I'm a bit more self-aware since I've been doing this, and now I'm kind of becoming a bit self-conscious about how I might be perceived by others. Something I've never been bothered about. I've kind of had an attitude of, this is who I am, what I am, I'm not going to be any different. And I don't act differently around other people. I just don't, and I don't do at work, I don't do brown nosing. I'm just very honest, like probably too honest at times. And all of this comes down to, after chatting with Erin, and she's like, I think you probably have got some things that are, I'm like maybe a little bit on the spectrum that I've just never really fully taken on board. I've just kind of just thought that's just a personality, that's just my unique personality. But now it's ADD and ADHD and stuff like that. It's like, it seems like everyone's got it these days. I mean, there's an awful lot of content creators who lean on the ADHD wackiness sometimes a little bit too much, and it's hard for me to say that, because I know some of them I actually really like their content, and I know it's one of those things that if you watch someone who does a lot of content and they like that all the time, then that reflects that, that's probably genuine, because they are legit. But then you get a lot of self-diagnosed ADHD sufferers, and I guess I'm probably one of those. I haven't actually gone and taken myself to a doctor to get formally diagnosed with, is there anything that I am suffering with? And then I came to the conclusion of, I'm nearly 40 years old. What difference does that make, I guess? It's not going to change my life. Taking a tablet isn't going to make me any better. I don't think it's going to make me better at my job. I don't think it's going to make me a better person. I think I'm just kind of like that's just part of my character, I guess. And those of you who have met me and know me, I like to think accept that's just who I am and stuff, and I'm not going to change. But it's just been a weird one. It's just been a real strange couple of weeks, kind of learning a lot about yourself. And I've got YouTube to thank for that, because it's something I've just kind of buried in the back of my head. I've just never really made much of anything of it. I've just always gone, well, that's just me. And yeah, not until when you actually, if you're ever in a situation where you record yourself and you're talking to a camera for a while, you pick up on things that you would never have normally picked up on. So it's been a bit of a this has been a bit of a random episode this week. I haven't gone anywhere particularly jaw-dropping. It's just kind of my local backyard, I guess, and maybe it is actually more impressive. It's one of those things that you don't fully appreciate what you got around you until you leave and you come back and go, actually, you know what, this is pretty nice around here. I guess it is pretty nice. But yeah, it's not as fancy as, say, the Peak District. And as always, I do this kind of level of talking and videoing myself, and I have absolutely no idea if this is coming out good at all. This might be a load of garbage, I don't know. This might be an episode I end up scrapping, but it's just funny. It's like a weird bit of therapy, actually. Is it crazy to like say that you have an open and honest conversation with yourself? Is that even a thing? I don't even know if that's like that could be, is that like psycho crazy? Talking to yourself and that, but sometimes when you speak out aloud what you're thinking, sometimes hearing yourself coming out with some stuff, you kind of go, huh, that's a bit strange, or that makes sense, or that doesn't make sense. And speaking my thoughts out aloud to a microphone and filming it, this is what I'm doing now. Had some people asking me, what have I done to my exhaust? It sounds great. Little pops and bangs there. And the answer is, I've just removed the rear pea shooter silencer. That's it. I've just removed I've got the stock headers and the catalytic converter still in place. I've literally just taken the ends off, so it looks like a drag style exhaust, which is the style that I like. And as a result, I'm getting like lots of really nice like pops and bangs out of it. So There's me thinking I'm going to need to spend thousands on a new exhaust, when reality I just slip off the silencer, and that's good enough really. Yeah, it's got a nice little great sound. It sounds great. It's got a bit of playfulness to it. I'm a bit more locked in. Let's just go around these bends a bit more locked in. I've been taking it super chilled and easy for the entire ride, and then I just thought I'm coming towards the end of my ride, and just kind of just fancied a little sprinkle of fun. You know what, I mentioned this before in the last video about the tyres. I changed the tyres on this, and I now got K60 Scout tyres on here, and God, they make a humongous difference to the road handling at this time of year, where all the little, I've got so many little bumps and dips and all sorts going on the roads around here. They're not great at all. They're all in pieces, and there's bits of rubbish all over the road. There's leaves, there's acorns and all that, and having these kind of chunkier 50/50 road off-road tyres, it just goes over all the cracks and bumps and everything with no drama. It's really nice actually. The stock tyres that were on here, I think they were Dunlops, they were just so bad. I mean, when I got these replaced, I have to admit, the front, they did say your front tyre is like borderline legal. I was like, okay, well maybe that has something to do with the lack of front end grip then. But I remember when I was first riding this, and the front and back was just slipping, and it just wasn't good at all. And I thought, whoa, this is very different to the handling on my bobber, because the bobber had the Avon chromes, which a lot of people in forums now complain about them, but I thought they were terrific. I thought they were really, well, okay, I thought they were terrific during dry times because they were super sticky and that. They were really great during, if it's dry and it's warm. In the winter time though, the back end would occasionally slip out on me. Even though I upgraded the rear to a 170, it still had its moments where it got a bit slippy and slidey. But I've not had any of that on this. Grips so well. We've made it back to a very small but wonderful little village, Hartley Whitney. Oh no, it's disabled. Yeah, poops. There we go. Stop in here. So I have pulled in here because I'll go a bit further forward. So I think I'm gonna call it a day, wrap up this episode. If you've stuck around for this long, all I can say is thank you so much. Thank you everyone for your continued support on this channel. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing to my content. And hopefully we keep getting bigger and bigger, and that can only be good for all of us, really. I've got more ideas, more adventures planned. What am I doing next? I'm going to be doing a night ride around London town. I'm going to be doing that in the next few days, so got that to look forward to. Bit different, very different vibe to what you've been getting recently. London is very different, but fun and chaotic, but mostly fun. So I'll wrap up here. Thank you guys. Remember, like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, let me know. I would love feedback on this, what you think of the episode. Anything that you would like, again, is there anything that you would like to see more of? I like all feedback. If you want less of this waffle and just more just rides about chat, then let me know. I might start doing that as well. I might start doing I might do like one episode a month where there's no waffle, it's literally just uninterrupted ride. So there'll be like bonus episodes. So yeah, some night rides. Maybe a London night ride without me chatting. So take care and see you in the next one.